There we go. Okay.
Perfect. Good morning, everybody. This is the final Saturday morning in our Raise Your Vibe series, and we have saved a huge one for last, my friends. Yvonne Litza is going to connect the power of oils with the power of affirmations. And I am sitting here with a notepad and pen because I'm fully ready for you to just unload all the goodness on us. So, Yvonne, take it away.
Okay, good morning, guys. I heard your little Facebook Live this morning, Skyla, and I guess I hadn't connected the dots that this was the last one, even though I was the last one on the list. Sometimes I'm not quick at those dots, apparently. And it actually made me feel a little sad. I don't know about you guys, but I just kind of want to start off. This really isn't an affirmation, but if you have gratitude at hand, I would love it if you used it or use any oil that just makes you feel grateful. And really the women who have, like, Skyla started us off 4 weeks ago, and then Rhonda gave one of them, just content I had never heard before. Britta, is a hard act to follow. All three of these are hard acts to follow. But the content, not only in the 3 Zooms we've already had so far, but in every day, these ladies poured into us such amazing content. And I hope that you've bookmarked or saved or whatever it is you can do on Facebook with these things and really use them to go back for. I think, honestly, I went through those and there was videos I had never seen. I thought I've been doing this for a long time. I thought I had seen or been shared with all of the things before. And they brought so many things that I had not seen before. This content, guys, I don't know what a company that charges for personal development would have charged for these 4 weeks, but I guarantee you it would have been a lot. This was amazing content, and it is worth revisiting again and again and again. Because one of the things I'm going to talk about affirmations, and in reality, when I took the list of, Skyla listed out 4 areas that we got to really choose from, and I'm like, oh, affirmations, I'm picking the easy subject, right? So I picked affirmations, but like all of them, I want to deliver good content. I don't ever want to show up to anything that I teach and not deliver solid content. So this week I started diving into affirmations. And guys, it is as deep a subject as you could possibly imagine. We're going to talk a little bit. If you're on my team, you guys know that I always start with why do we need to know something, right? It's all great that it's like we always talk about, why do we need to know why the oils work? It's great to know that they work, and we all know they do. And we know sometimes we don't understand why peppermint helps us with our headache, but it does. But when Gary brought out the first gas chromatograph that I ever saw at convention, I probably bugged out going, oh, there's science behind it. I am one of those people, I don't know, that left brain, right brain, green, purple, blue, I don't know what I am. But I do know that I appreciate science. While I am very much about we follow what works because we know it's work, we follow our intuition, we know where we're being led, I feel really comfort. I just get this sense of comfort when science starts to catch up, because that's what I've noticed over my time with Young Living. Gary, when he first started Young Living, he didn't own a gas chromatograph. He had seen them, he had worked with them in France, but Young Living didn't own one. It was a few years before they sold enough oils to actually have those things in-house. And yet he knew the oils worked. He knew there was science, even if he couldn't put his fingertips on it. And it was the fact that he knew the science and he followed his intuition that made the magic, in my mind, is what made the magic happen. And that's what I love to do. So today, we're actually going to start with a little bit of science. So if it's not your thing, guys, just bear with me. I promise it's a little itty bitty bit. And if it kind of science is your thing, hopefully you'll enjoy it and get some benefit out of it. Now, my system doesn't allow me to share PowerPoints through the PowerPoint, so it's not quite as pretty, but you're just gonna look at my screen in the PowerPoint. So we're gonna talk about raising your vibe with affirmations, because we know your vibe attracts your tribe, right? We want to hang around with people who are positive and forward thinking and health conscious and basically just, world changers. That's what we want to hang around with. Well, what makes your vibe? Your thoughts make your vibes. So if you want to attract your tribe of forward-thinking, world-leading positive people, it has to come from within you. You attract what you are. So every minute of every day, your body is physically reacting, literally changing in response to the thoughts that are running through your mind. Like, you can't help it. You have absolutely no control over it. And every minute of every day, what you are thinking right in your head right now is affecting your body. We like to think that, oh, our thoughts don't matter. I can think this, I can just but it's not going to affect me physically. No, it does. Read Louise Hayes' books and, Feelings Buried Alive Never Die, The Power of Belief. There's your thoughts, which are tied to your emotions, you almost can't really separate them, are what make chemical reactions happen in your body and affect your body every second of the day. So before we get started here, guys, do a self-check. How are you feeling right now? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you bored? Are you pensive? Are you not present? Like, I obviously am not, since I have 3 bottles of present time on my desk that have accrued here. So, how are you doing? Just check in. This is possibly one of the most important skills we can learn throughout our day, is to check in often. Because honestly, guys, you have control over that. And much like that old saying, right? We're young living people. We've heard this. Everything you eat is either fighting disease or feeding it. Everything we put on our body is either fighting disease or feeding it. Every thought that we have is either attracting the things that we want in life and makes us go, oh my God, I love life, or things that you don't want. My life sucks. It's horrible. I can't believe so-and-so did this. I can't believe that. I can't believe this happened to me again. When we start to pay attention to those constant thoughts in our mind, if you start seeing things repeating again and again in your life, we can start to look for those underlying scenarios that are running in our head. Because in essence, what you're attracting or repelling everything that's going on around you. So if you want great things in your life, if you want to be happy and surrounded by amazing people and your dream car in the driveway, the state of your emotions and your thoughts is critical to that either being attracted to you or repelled by it, right? We heard from Bob Proctor that our emotions, that our frequency is what like attracts like. Higher frequency is attracted to higher frequency. Lower frequency is attracted to lower frequency. If you've got people who are, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've just got so many negative people around me. I've had that part in my life. And when I look at myself, oh, wait a minute. No, it's me attracting negativity because, my mind and my thought patterns are kind of like in the tank. And I am not at a higher frequency. I have not raised my thoughts and my vibrations to what will attract great things. So again, why do we need to work on these affirmations? Because affirmations are the first step into changing our frequency, into changing our thought patterns. And I did a lot of research, and you might have heard different numbers, guys. I tried to find things as conservative. If I put it into a PowerPoint, I'm like, I want it as conservative as possible. Now, I've heard a lot of different, in fact, my coach was telling me a couple of weeks ago, people have 30,000 thoughts a day. There is research that says that there's 30,000 thoughts a day. And then I found research that was done or was reported as early as May of 2020 that are showing 6,200 to 10,000 thoughts a day. And first I was like, oh, really? That's all I think? And then I divided that out, guys. That's like five complete thoughts a minute. So what does that mean? So like I'm having this conversation right now, so I'm pretty much following a thought thread. So there's minutes where I may have 60 thoughts going through my head in 1 minute. It averages out to about 5 thoughts per minute every day. That's a lot of thoughts. That's a lot of just mind wandering all over the place. So the first thing that affirmations are going to help us do is help us to focus. Because as we do our affirmations, we're going to try to really focus on that for a minimum of 60 seconds. You're much better if you can do it, 2 to 3 minutes, but a minimum of 60 seconds. And we'll talk a little bit about the science of why we want to do that in a second. But we want to start taking control some of those 6,200 thoughts a day. And you want to know why? Because 90% of those 6,200 thoughts a day are thoughts that are just repetitive, basically unconscious. It's just your mind flittering all over the place, thinking about things. Have you ever found yourself just going down rabbit holes and how we think about, all the bad things that ever happened to us in our lives? Our DNA is actually kind of working against us in there, guys. This is where we have to take control of our thoughts, because our DNA is actually wired to remember the bad things. It's just the way we've developed over the last 1,000 years. God just created us to be able to really identify threats. And so 90% of these thoughts are out of our control, and 80% of that 90% is negative or self-defeating thoughts. Now those 2%, that was across the board. Like almost every research I could find on thoughts that they have done, these percentages are pretty much, in fact, one of them said 95% thoughts are basically repetitive and unconscious thoughts. That's a lot of thoughts running through your head, causing a lot of damage. Now, the thing is, guys, I had to write this down so I got it, because when I read this, I was like, oh, this just tells me I need to make sure I'm in control of my thoughts. So negative thoughts are particularly draining. Thoughts containing none, shouldn't, can't, complaints, whining, or thoughts that diminish self, deplete the body by producing corresponding chemicals that weaken our physiology, and that weakens your immune system. Now that's right from some science journal that you couldn't really even understand half of it. So what they're saying is, though, these 80% of our thoughts that are running around just being negative, being self-defacing, us beating on ourselves, is not only bad just because it puts us in a bad mood, but it's actually bad for our bodies. It's physically depleting us. It's physically causing issues within our body. And the longer we let that run amok, the more damage it's going to cause. But guys, there's good news, right? There's always good news. We're not going to leave us there. The thing is, we are just a decision away from how you want to feel. So when we checked in on that first slide of how you're feeling, if you're not feeling great, if you're not feeling happy, if you're not feeling, empowered, guess what? You get to change that. You are in control. And actually, guys, you're the only one in control of your emotions. The problem stems from the common belief that we're victims of what life hands us. The truth is that while you have to accept what life hands you, you don't have to accept the negative feelings that you assign to it. What's the adage? Life is 10% about what happens to you and 90% of how you respond. No one makes you angry. You choose to be angry. No one makes you sad. You choose to be sad. Things happen that can cause sadness. And I'm not saying that we ignore sadness and that we're all going to live in la la land. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we don't have to live there. This one concept, guys, I don't know when I got this. This was a few years ago, but it literally changed my life. It's one of those things that when I grasped this concept, like when I feel myself in last week I'd let myself get into a little bit of a funk. I got a little angry and I just decided, I don't know why I didn't decide. I just unconsciously, my brain was staying there and probably like 2 hours. I just was in a funk. I was moping around, blah, blah, blah. And then finally at about like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I was sitting outside going, what? Why? Yvonne, don't be angry. And you know what? That was it. I was done. I was no longer angry. when you start to train your mind, just when you say stop it, and trust me, it may not be easy at first, it was not for me, but when you start to train your mind to just say stop it, don't go there, choose this other emotion, you can do that. And when you start to do that, and when you start to see why you really want to, which is, all of the negative things we're doing to our body when we allow ourselves to be in that negativity, it is powerful. You can change things, you can change your body, your systems overnight. So how do we actually take control of these thoughts? Well, it's actually pretty easy. And just like building a network marketing business, I should say it's simple. It's very simple. The easy part is up to us, right? We get to make it easy or difficult. And I won't say that it's something that I certainly mastered overnight. In fact, I don't consider myself a master of it. I don't really consider myself a master of affirmations, but I do understand the power of them, and I've used them very effectively. And what are affirmations? Affirmations are just really short, simple, and yet powerful sentences aimed to affect the conscious and the subconscious mind with the intention that they help alter our thinking patterns, habits, and behavior. Affirmations are also emotional support through change. So you can start to use affirmations to actually change the way you feel, the way you look at things, the way you respond to things, what you're going to let take control of your life. Now we're going to talk at the end about, certain affirmations. It's not so much the words that you put on the paper, okay? We have to remember that we actually think in thoughts and emotions. Thoughts and emotions really, really tie together. In fact, if I say the sentence, the cute brown dog ran across the road. Now, I'm pretty sure when I just said that sentence, you didn't picture the words, the cute brown dog ran across the road. You pictured a cute brown dog running across the road. That's what we picture. That's how we think. That's how we understand. And depending upon how you feel about cute brown dogs, that would have elicited an emotion. Because when you see something in your mind, it elicits that emotion. We can't disassociate our thoughts, our pictures, our movies in our minds from the way we respond emotionally. And so when we talk about affirmations, I'm going to write down words, or you're going to write down words, and you're going to have a list of affirmations, and we're going to put them all over the house. And that's great, and we want that. But as you're writing the affirmation out, pay attention to the movie it plays in your head and the emotion it elicits from your soul. That's what we want to anchor on. If you've ever worked with affirmations and maybe you're one of the, maybe you didn't have a lot of luck with them in the beginning. Maybe, just maybe, you were focused a little bit too much on the words that you wrote down versus the movie and the emotions it elicits. So when I talk about my affirmations, right? And this is different for everybody, right? When I talk about happy, when I say, I want to be happy, or we don't want to use the word, I am happy, right? We don't want that word want. I am happy. I am so grateful that my life fills me with joy every day, right? That's the kind of thing that gets a movie going in my head. It may be completely different for you. Maybe I am happy gets a movie going in your mind. When I say, a lot of people love the word peace. Here's something for just for illustration, right? So a lot of people will say the affirmation, I am at peace. That's a horrible affirmation for me. They'll tell you, whenever I read the words, I see this on a lot of different affirmation lists, I am at peace, because it sounds very nice. But I'll tell you what I think of this might tell you a little bit about my psychology. When somebody says, they're at peace, I imagine a coffin. When somebody says, I think that's just, when I was a young child, somehow we were at a funeral home and they said, well, they're at peace now. And so when I say, I'm at peace, that's not a good thing, right? Because my emotions go to coffin, right? But you probably don't have that correlation. So this is where it gets into affirmations are very specific. We're going to give you the course of the next week. My whole series of tech or posts are going to be around affirmations and vision boards and building them. The reason I'm stressing this right now is please don't feel like you used to have to use those affirmations. If those affirmations don't play a movie in your head that excites you and makes you feel great, don't use them. Make up your own. Figure out what words trigger that emotion and movie in your mind that is going to anchor a great feeling into you. The power of affirmations come from writing down a sentence, a short, brief sentence that will move you to an emotion, to a state that will help to move you ahead. So, promised you a little bit of science because this is kind of just, I love this. I have read many books on this whole neuroplasticity thing because I was of the belief. I spent my entire 20s believing that I had learned everything I could possibly learn not because I thought I knew everything. No, that was never my case. But I grew up in a family that, basically you don't learn anything when you're an adult, right? Basically the science back in the 70s and the 80s when I was growing up was stating that, basically once your brain hit maturity, you're done. I mean, that's, once it's grown, once you hit the full size of your skull and your brain fills it, your brain is done. And therefore, that's why you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, luckily, that's not the case anymore. Thanks to neuroscience, we now know that certain neural pathways are increased when we practice self-affirmations, which are making affirmations an excellent way of breaking old limiting beliefs and building new positive beliefs and mindsets. Words are potent, and when directed inwards through the use of positive self-talk, they can transform our internal state on an intense and profound level. Our mind doesn't know the difference between the real and the pretend, and because of this, affirmations can program our mind into believing the stated concept. Basically, speaking affirmations help to rewire the brain. So if you've ever thought you are who you are and you just can't change that, guys, I got great news. If you want to change it, you can. And science is growing every day in this area. But neuroplasticity is like the forefront of neuroscience because when they figured this out, it changed how they approached everything. It is why we are now realizing in our 40s and 50s that life is really just beginning because we can keep learning, we can change, we can grow, we can adapt just as well in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s as we can in our 20s. Often it's our mindset, that story that we're playing in our head that tells us we can't adapt. So I think this is just huge because it's the proof that I was looking for that gave me the permission to challenge my limiting belief. So this is a really short video just explaining the science behind it. I promise it's just a couple minutes. If I can get it to play. There we go. Maybe. Come on. There we go.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-traveled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep traveling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
Okay, so I told you it was a short one. But that's the power of affirmations. Affirmations are a way that we can short circuit the time it takes to actually rewire our brain. And when we start to rewire our brain and put ourselves in that state of attracting what we actually want in this world, what the things that will make us happy, that will fulfill us, bring us the greatest joy, that's when we start using those affirmations, we rewire the pathways and we start to rewrite some of that 90% of the unconscious thoughts that are running through our brains. That is the true power of affirmations. Affirmations are wonderful, but if you're only speaking them at, when you're brushing your teeth in the morning as you read them on the mirror, and then you forget about them for the rest of the day, or you don't attach an emotion to them so that you remember them throughout the day, they won't work as well or as quickly. So our old paradigm was that very fixed mindset that basically what you were born with is what you've got. And the new paradigm, the one that science is so excited about, is we never stop growing or changing. And it doesn't matter if you're 9 or 90, your brain has the ability to flex and change. And now the interesting thing about this, guys, the more we do this, the more flexible our brain becomes. And so the more we use affirmations, the more we dive into building that emotions, that new neural pathway that keeps us thinking about things that actually are benefiting us, the better we're going to be emotionally and physically, and that forces it to show up in our world. So there's another part of this. Okay, so affirmations are perfect. And honestly, affirmations are what I rely on most. But if you are a very visual person, there's going to be another step that you're going to want to add to this, which is the vision boards. So maybe you've made vision boards, maybe you haven't. And I'll tell you, when I first heard about vision boards, it was kind of like affirmations. Can you tell I was a little bit of a naysayer when I was younger? So I was pretty much going, yeah, vision boards, they're just a bunch of pictures up on a wall of things that are never going to happen. Well, of course they wouldn't happen if that's the way I actually felt about it. So just like affirmations, vision boards are really powerful, right? This visualization is the most powerful mind exercise you can do. I'm sure, well, hopefully you've heard of the research where they have athletes, and they have 2 sets of athletes that go out and they drill every day on this one exercise, right? So that they can do it again and again and again in their sleep. And they have another set of athletes, while they keep them physically fit, the only time they actually drill on that activity is when they're sitting in a chair visualizing it. And when they go out and they test those athletes, the athletes who physically did that routine and the athletes who actually just visualized it performed the same. Your mind doesn't know the difference between pretend and real. Your mind is living in a movie, and it doesn't understand, honestly, whether it's actually seeing it here or it's playing it here. In fact, there's some research saying that the movie that plays here is way more important than the movie that plays here. And so as you're building a vision board, especially if you are a very visual person, right? We all have different ways that we learn and absorb things. I am actually very auditory. I like if I want to change my mood and my focus, I am so much better off with great music. What I use, my version of a vision board, is affirmations that are talking about the things that I want in my life. And then I listen to that. That runs movies in my head. If you're a very visual person, vision boards are you should absolutely have a vision board. And vision boards are simply words, pictures, concepts that idealize your perfect life. Now, when you're making a vision board, one of the secrets to it is not just to put the things up there. I mean, please do put the gorgeous car, put the gorgeous house, I cannot tell you how many stories I know personally of people who put a vision of a house up on their vision board 10 years ago, and then realize the house that they're purchasing is either the exact same house or so incredibly similar that they really couldn't tell the difference. So visualization, whether it's you're using a vision board or an auditory recording, however it is, of your perfect life, something that you can look at and vision every day is huge. And of course, there's no one better to talk about vision than Bob Proctor. So I'm going to let him talk about the power of, right. We can't have one of these videos or one of these webinars without Bob Proctor talking. So this is a really short one, guys, but it is incredibly important about visualization.
I love reading this book. You can grow rich. Look, cover's coming off. It's falling apart. Pages are literally falling out of it. And it's probably one of the best books.
Sorry, guys.
I love reading this book. Think and Grow Rich. Look, cover's coming off. It's falling apart. Pages are literally falling out of it. And it's probably one of the best books that I've ever picked up. It's the first book I picked up. And it's the one that got me to change the direction of my life. In there, he says, the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. Now, the imagination is the mental faculty out of which visions arise. Visions, pictures that we build in our mind. Most people don't use their imagination constructively. Most people use their imagination destructively. They imagine what they don't want. We've got to consciously and deliberately imagine what we do want. If we will take and sit down with a pen and ask ourselves, what do I really want? What do I really want? And write it down. And then make a written description of it in the present tense. Writing causes thinking. Thinking creates an image. And you get these images going, you're building a vision in your mind. It's the visionaries that's changed the world. Think of that. The fact that I can sit and look into this camera, and you can sit and look at me on your phone, or on your TV, or on your laptop. That was the result of somebody's vision. Do you know everything you've got, the clothes you wear, the house you live in, this microphone that's in front of me? It was all the result of somebody's vision. It's not an accident. You and I have a marvelous imagination. And everything starts with a vision. Van Gogh was asked how he did such beautiful work. He said, first I dream my painting, and then I paint my dream. What do you want to do in your life? Where do you want to go? What do you want to make happen? What do you want to make happen for between now and the end of the year? Think about it for a moment. Don't think of why you can't. Doesn't matter how much money you've got. Doesn't matter how much help you've got. Build a vision of what you would like to accomplish between now and the end of the year. And then make a written description of that vision. Paint the picture with words. You can ride away with this. You can start writing the picture and it'll come on the screen of your mind. Or build a picture and then paint it with words. Vision. Vision is going to direct your life if you let it. Use it constructively. See what you want. Don't spend any time thinking of what you don't want. When you get a picture in here, make it big, make it beautiful. You'll be glad you did.
Okay, so vision is the thing that we're going for, right? Because that is what's going to make those new neurotransmitters and make those new neural pathways that are going to start to rewire the way we think. And that's going to help us attract the things that we want in this world. So you can do that with affirmations. You can do that with vision boards, more powerful when they're used together, right? The more senses we can bring into our vision and to our affirmations, the more powerful they're going to be. So we get to, as Young Living members, right, we get to add one more section into it, which is our essential oils. Because we know how incredibly powerful essential oils are on our brains, on helping to facilitate the building of the neural pathways, right? On how it actually helps to light up the amygdala of our brain and helps to actually help us think clearer, helps to actually change our emotions, right? If we want our affirmation to be incredibly powerful, we want to associate and bring about a very powerful, happy emotion. And we know that the only thing that really affects the limbic region of our brain is the sense of smell, which is how we access what we access through our essential oils. So how is it that essential oils can actually help with your affirmations and visions? Well, essential oils help to access the cellular memory of the limbic brain, the seat of your emotions. And this is really important for two reasons, because not only do we want to help make new neural pathways, right? We want to build the neural pathways that are going to help us think about and attract the things we want in our life. The higher our frequency, the higher we're vibing at, the more we're going to attract the things we really want in our world. Well, we also want to help to unseat some of those unconscious thoughts, that 80% that's just running in the back of our head. Now, we will, over time, as long as we keep using the affirmations and we stay really diligent and very conscious of doing that, we would over time, no matter what. But again, if we've got tools that are going to help us get there quicker, why wouldn't we use them? Oils are going to help us do that, because we know that oils can help to unseat and help us release old patterns, old emotions, traumas from our cells that no longer serve us. And when you start to actually release the traumas, right, getting rid of those toxic emotions that Rhonda taught us how to do in the second week, when you start to release those neural pathways are going to dry up and they're going to go away. And that's going to make even more room and make it easier for the new pathways that we're creating with our affirmations and vision boards to take over. And it becomes easy to be one of those positive people. Have you ever met somebody like maybe Skyla, who's like just always positive, like always has a smile on her face, like always seeing the bright side of things? And you're like, the sky is falling. And she's like, no, it's not. It's because that she has more neural pathways, right? When you're friends, when you've got somebody in your life, and I hope all of us do, who's a very just positive all the time, they have built many neural pathways that allows them to stay in the positive. But the secret is we get to all do that. We get to choose if we're going to be one of those positive people or not. And that's it. It is really literally a choice. So now, the second thing that I love about essential oils is because they help to increase the oxygenation of the brain, right? And whenever you increase the oxygenation in the brain or anywhere in your body, the cells work better, right? We are asking our neurons and our neurotransmitters to actually build new pathways. So the essential oils just make an environment or help to give the body tools that will lend towards being able to do that effortlessly. So it's just essential oils actually give our brain the tools it needs in order to actually build those new neural pathways, in order to actually get those transmitters moving back and forth in the ways that's going to be helpful. And then essential oils have frequency that help us to shift our mental and emotional state. So, okay, I did grab rose. I know that, there's some research saying out here, I think it's Northern Lights Black Spruce. Am I grabbing the right one out of my head? That might be slightly higher, but rose is my go-to for an incredibly high frequency. If you have rose, literally all you have to do is inhale it. And those molecules are going up into the olfactory region of the brain, and it's actually changing my frequency. It is actually helping to lift me up. But an oil as simple as joy, which actually has rose in it, can do the same thing. All of our oils have a frequency, and especially when you get into the floral and the citrus oils, they have such a high frequency that they actually help to change our frequency. And when we change our frequency, we get to change what we're attracting. we know that the higher the vibration, everything, the good things we want in life, the happiness, the laughter, the abundance, right? That all resonates at a higher frequency. Sadness, despair, tragedy, trauma, those resonate at lower frequencies, right? That's just wisdom that's known since the beginning of time. So when we raise our frequency, if like attracts like, which is a universal law, when like attracts like, when we are resonating at a higher frequency through our thoughts, our mind, and our actions, and the essential oils, we will put ourselves into an area that we attract. Our vibe is going to attract our tribe. So here's the steps to really, as we walk through this next week of working with affirmations and essential oils, here's the steps to do it. So first of all, it doesn't matter to me how many affirmations you choose. For me, I pick 3 at a time that I'm working on. It's just, I love the number 3, right? It's just the number that I use for completion. And so at any one time, I'll have 3 affirmations, right? So choose what you want to focus on now. Choose one area, 1, 2, 3 areas, whatever you just choose on that and to focus on now. Now, the first thing to do is visualize it, right? We're going to go back into that visualizing. Maybe it means a vision board. If you want to start, visualizing what that's going to look like, what your life is going to look like for that affirmation, great. If it's just writing it out to get that movie playing in your head that evokes that emotion, great. So feel how it's going to feel. When I work on, I am working on being happy. I am working on being satisfied. I'm working on being positive, right? I don't visualize the words. I visualize what I feel like. I put myself into that state, as Tony Robbins loves to call it, that state of how I feel when that is what's going on in my life. So affirmations, we're going to write that down. Now you describe that for your affirmation. Describe this in a short sentence. So for me, if I am choosing, I love the word choose for me. It makes me feel very empowered. I am choosing to feel incredibly empowered. I am choosing to be filled with joy. I am choosing to have a great day, a great deal of energy. You can write those affirmations out however you want. Now anchor this feeling with the oil of your choice. When I pick an oil and you've got 200 and some oils to choose from, my suggestion is pick an oil that when you inhale it, I know hopefully as soon as you got it, you opened it up and you smelled it, and that probably registered a feeling. So when you're thinking about how you want to feel in that moment for that affirmation, think of an oil that helped you feel that, right? I rely a lot on joy. I rely a lot on inspiration for when I'm visioning my future. When I'm working on, I am grateful that my life is filled with such abundance. I am using abundance and inspiration. Those are the 2 oils that I'm inhaling, and that way you can anchor that affirmation with a scent. Here's where we get to, as Young Living members, get to really short circuit the procedure, because a lot of times, when you learn about affirmations, they say write it on Post-it notes and put it throughout your house so you constantly see that. That's good. Please do that, but also take the oil that you anchor that affirmation in your mind with, in your emotions with, and put that on a diffuser bracelet, on a diffuser necklace. Put that in the diffuser in your house. And watch what happens as you inhale that scent that you have anchored with that emotion and that affirmation in your body. When you start to do that, you start to realize, even if you're not necessarily thinking of that affirmation, I am full of joy. When you inhale that scent, it triggers that emotion and that concept, even if you're not necessarily thinking those words. This is how you get to take your affirmations to that next level. Now, don't stop this exercise until you're in the state of your desired outcome. So as you're building your affirmations, as you're starting, it's going to take more time in the beginning as you start this process than a week from now, when all you have to do is think about, I am filled with joy, and you are filled with joy. In the beginning, you might read that sentence and go, no, I'm not. Nope, not filled with joy. Not filled with joy. Let me go have some more joy here. And think about things that will put you into that state of joy. Think about your children or your grandchildren or your animals or walking along a creek or any time that you're filled with joy. Think about that moment. Inhale the oil of your choice and repeat that affirmation. Basically, you're trying to make your affirmation into a little bit of a mantra for yourself. And when you do that, you start to change yourself physiologically. Remember, everything that you're thinking, every moment of every day, every thought that you're thinking is having a chemical reaction in your body. Wouldn't it be better to be in control of those chemical reactions versus being subject to them? So guys, here's how you really start to do this. When you get that feeling, now you stick with this. You make the commitment. You get consistent in doing it every day. You do this every day for as long as it takes to start shifting how you feel. So here's just a couple ones. I've just pulled some old ones that I started when I started my journey on affirmations. I learned from actually Kimmy Brooke. Yeah, I love Kimmy. Her energy is absolutely amazing. And so I took a lot of things that she started her day. If you want to change, if you wake up in the morning and you're not at the top of your game, get out of bed, put on some valor, jump up and down. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. 3 times, and then jump up and down and go, I am full of energy. I am full of energy. I am full of energy. And I guarantee you by the time you get done with your last one, you're going to be feeling grateful and full of energy. It absolutely blew my mind how that was a way to reset myself first thing in the morning. Now, as you're working on affirmations are something you want to actually put throughout your day. So yes, if you can, write it on Post-it notes, put it on your mirror in the bathroom. So when you're reading it, when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, put it on the refrigerator. So when you go to grab lunch out of it in the afternoon, you see it, put it on your nightstand so that you can read it before you go to bed. Huge, huge thought. Read that and inhale the oil. I love diffuser bracelets. Put your oil for the affirmation that you're working with on the diffuser bracelet. Present time, it's always one for me apparently. Today I'm brimming with energy and overflowing with joy. You could use joy, you could use orange, you could use thieves if that's what helps with that emotion. Whatever oil helps with that emotion of the state you're looking to achieve through your affirmation is the oil you use. There's no right or wrong. There's no magic like this oil is going to do this. Gary named his blends very well. Britta, if you want any suggestions and ideas, Britta gave us a week of suggestions and ideas for different oils to help with different emotions. Go through her posts from last week. I guarantee you will find a notepad full of ideas. Pull out the oils, mostly use the ones you have on hand and start using them in your affirmation. Highest potential, I hope you have that one. This one is one that helps me live. It just helps me live to my highest, right? I possess the qualities needed to be extremely successful. In the beginning, this one was a humdinger for me. I didn't realize my limiting belief, and that's what it was. I didn't even realize I had the limiting belief that I didn't believe I had the qualities. I didn't believe it. And I don't know where that programming came from. I have no idea. I don't remember anybody telling me I couldn't do it. But when I started with this affirmation, it took me a while to get that emotion to where I was like, yeah, I've got these qualities. I can do this. I have what it takes. It took me a while for me to get to that emotion. And highest potential was the oil. Highest potential and belief were the oils that I used for this affirmation always. And it changed everything for me. I don't think I'd be on these Zooms hosting webinars every week if I hadn't done this work a few years ago, because I don't think I would have had the confidence or the belief that I had enough information to give anyone else. So if you ever feel like you aren't enough to build this business, please, please, please grab some highest potential. use this affirmation or something like it and work on that, because I guarantee you that's a limiting belief that's just running subconsciously. It's part of that 80% self-defeating talk that we don't even know that's happening in our brain. Orange is one of my favorite uplifting. And so I love this one. I have been given endless talents, which I begin to utilize every day. Because when I inhale orange or lemon, really both of those intertwined, I feel like I'm just like, I'm light. I have been given endless talents. Endless talents. I've got everything I need. It's very similar, obviously, to I possess the qualities, but it was like that next step for me. Not only do I possess the qualities, I have endless talents. I am filled with growth potential, basically. And then my business is growing, expanding, and thriving. So, guys, I picked 4 affirmations that I've used in the past that really helped my business, right? It was really good for, helping to grow. And since we're really in a young living focus here, I chose these. But you guys, we are not limited to just focusing on our business. If you don't have enough energy, if you're feeling any insecurities in any particular area of your life, affirmations, working with your oils to help root that energy and that mindset is how you're going to actually change the pattern in your brain to get to the point where you want to be. And the reality is, the sobering fact is that the only one in charge of our lives, the only one responsible for what we have and what we don't have, is actually us. And that is a direct result of the wiring that's in our minds. But the great news is we're the ones in control of the wiring in our minds, and we get to change that. So, okay, that's it for the PowerPoint and the information. People are still here, so you didn't fall asleep during the videos. That's a good thing. But if you've got any questions or comments on this, guys, we've got a couple minutes left, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on affirmations. And I'd like to know, is anybody using affirmations and oils currently? Is anybody doing this? And feel free to come off mute. Hey, Maria.
Okay, I'll go first. But you guys, step up. Get brave. You talked about a cute brown dog ran across the road and brought up a picture. This is something I've struggled with, trying to, pick the story that I put in my head so that and I can move forward with my affirmations. And what I saw when you said, most people, I'm sure, saw a cute brown dog running across the road. That's it. No emotions. Me, I saw a cute little brown puppy running across the road and a car coming, and oh my God, it's going to get hit. It's super important to know what that story is in your head. Like, that would not be a good affirmation for me.
But that's huge, Maria. That's exactly the point, right? Because and that's why I put the road, not across the yard. And that's another thing, guys, that we really didn't talk about is being in control. Maria hit on a really important part, though, because sometimes we don't think of the ancillary thoughts that go with it, right? Being very conscious of all of the thoughts that go with it, right? So the cute brown dog going across the road, like if you live on a country road that there's basically the only car that comes along is going 30 miles an hour. And so, dogs playing on the road don't scare you. So maybe that vision is very good, right? It reminds you of your childhood and how much fun you guys had. But if you're living on a busy highway and a cute brown dog crosses the road, that's terror. So understanding how these videos, these movies we play in our mind, and being in control of every step of it, which is why it's so important to not just write words down on a piece of paper, but put in a video and an emotion with it. That's how your mind rewires. Now, probably anytime I mention a cute brown dog to Maria, she's going to remember the road and a car. That's how quickly you can rewire your brain. When you get this, it's powerful. Is anybody else jazzed?
Hey Yvonne, it's Enid.
Enid?
I'm not on camera for good reasons, but I thought that it was great. It's very hopeful because I've been doing this for a while, but it's very hopeful to know that I can start today to believe that I can reach a certain level and I can decide to stop thinking negatively in an instant. It's mind-boggling, and what I won't say what scares me, but I'm just like, I hope the process isn't very long. Like I'm working on my patience, and I love you all's energy, especially Skylar. She cracks me up. And I want to be like that all the time. And you know me, you know that I have high energy, but I was in a funk yesterday. So it's just building the habits and being consistent. Like that's the part that just has me a little bit like, is this going to work for me?
Enid, that is the biggest question, right? And that was my thing in the beginning. I was like for patience, right? When in the beginning, when I started to say, patience was a thing, and I think I've gotten much better at it, and I still work on it. But patience is a thing. And so I'd say that I am so grateful, right? I love Bob Proctor's wording. I am so grateful I have patience. I am so grateful that God created me with the perfect patience. When you start to write that story, when you start to build those neural pathways in your mind that you are a patient person, you are going to start acting in a way that aligns with that story. This is all part of it, right? When we start to change that subconscious, right? When we start to say, when your story about you, remember, it's all stories. Everything that we believe about ourselves is a story. When you start to believe that your story is, I'm a patient person. I'm a patient person. You are going to start responding and acting in a way that aligns with that story that runs in your head, because your body is not going, you cannot act in a way that is not concurrent with your self-belief. So changing these neural pathways, guys, that's one of the things you're going to also be doing, is changing your self-belief. And that's going to change the way you act. So you are going to be, ain't it just by saying every day, I'm a patient person. Thank you, God. I'm a patient person. I am so grateful. I am a patient person. And you're just going to, when the next thing happens, it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be the next thing you're going to have the patience of a saint, but you're going to react something. And then that little thing is going to go in your mind and go, would that be the way a patient person reacts? Probably not. And you're going to start being more conscious of being impatient. And when you start being conscious and moving those thoughts from that unconscious realm into that conscious realm, you can control it and you can change the neural pathway. Right now, it's pulling that unconscious thought pattern, that unconscious belief, that mindset into the conscious realm. And that's what's going to start to allow you to get rid of it and build the pathways that you want. Does that make sense?
That was great. Thank you. I am so patient.
You are patient.
Yvonne, thank you. Yvonne, thank you so much.
Sorry, Skyla. I love this. Thank you for letting me cover this topic. I had such a blast researching this week.
You did an amazing job, and you definitely delivered. There is no question about it. Do you have just another minute?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think Michelle was just about ready to chime in here.
Michelle?
Thank you. No, it's okay. I understand and respect the time, but I thank each and every one of you this month, because every time I get ready to get off this call, like the tears, it's a good tear. It's like spiritually, I am so high right now. It's like I'll be on the phone with my whole team. But interestingly enough, and it's nice to have the science and all of this to connect. When we went to convention this year and they gave us that empty Young Living roller bottle with the amethyst crystals in it, yes, Skylar, that one. I said, I'm going to get a bottle of rose essential oil because I didn't have one. And I said, I'm going to get some rose oil and it's going in that bottle right there. I just hit Dream 500 and earned my rose oil. Woo! Now I'm going to get the rest of them.
So proud of you.
I'm like, I got my rose oil last night. I'm like, this is so wait. I'm like, oh my, yeah, so much is happening with thoughts. And you guys lit me up last week. I already got a glass and I'm looking for glass markers and, got things to post all over the wall. And, I love you guys. And I am so grateful to God for each and every one of you, what you are pouring into us so that we can make an impact on this world. Because that's what I'm about to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
That is amazing. I love it.
Well, I agree with her, but I'm a little sad that this is the last one. I appreciate you all and every effort that you put into your presentations, but man, this has just really shed some light on a lot of things for me. So I have verses all over the place. I don't know where I'm going to put these affirmations, but they're going somewhere. My walls are going to be totally different color, probably. My landlord is not going to like it, but that's okay. That's okay.
They're safe. They don't hurt the wall.
Guess I'll get that sticky. I don't know. It's not tape, but it's like a. I don't know. It's rubbery, and it doesn't peel off your paint and stuff.
Great idea. Well, you guys, here's the good news. Today was the last, shall we say, instructional day. But as you notice from your calendar, there is still one more Saturday left in August. And this is the one where we give away the new car. I'm so excited. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. Rhonda did not.
That was a good visual. I like that. I need a new car.
Well, you just believe in that.
Okay.
I don't know that that's going to be happening here. But what we do want to do, though, is we want to give all of you that have been absorbing this and putting it into practice and sharing it with others an opportunity to share your stories. So I know we've done little glimpses of that here and there, but what we would really love to do is have an hour dedicated to hearing your testimonies and hearing how you're putting it into practice. So that is what we will be coming together for next Saturday morning, same time, same link. If you have created a vision board, or if you want to create one this week, we would love to see it. We want to know, are you teaching this information to your family? Are you sharing it with your team? Because these posts and the videos, they can absolutely be shared with your team, okay? We know that not everybody is able to get on a Saturday morning, so it's your job to rebroadcast this, okay? And also, if we know that we certainly don't have all of the resources in our libraries, I agree with Yvonne. I mean, everybody was pulling things out. I had never seen the videos that Yvonne shared this morning. And so I'm jotting things down like, ooh, this is really good. We know that you are probably also sitting on books and videos and podcasts and mentors and coaches. And that might also be something that others would love to have you share. So make a little list of the things that have been the most impactful for you as you work to raise your vibe and as you bring in all of the positivity that you can into your life. We want to hear about that, okay? So that's your homework. This is a big homework week, friends. Pull it together and get ready to share. And remember, you can't be the Dead Sea where stuff just flows in, okay? You have to be the living water that brings it in and sends it out, okay? So sponges that just bring stuff in just get moldy and filled with bacteria. Got to rinse it out, right? Share the wealth. So that's your job for this week. And we'll see you again next Saturday morning.
Have a good day.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.